Welcome everybody to Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. We have Mary, aka Moondance, aka my personal paparazzi. Finally here with us today. Mary, say hi.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and before we dive into all the things about how and why you should do a professional photo shoot and how to make the most of it for your fitness business, before we dive into all these good nuggets that we have for you today, we've got some housekeeping to do regarding the logistics of this podcast. So first, I am in the Dominican Republic recording, and I am on a Fit Bodies Pro Travel teaching vacation. So our internet is not all that stable. So we're disclaiming the fact that there might be some glitches. And if you're watching on YouTube, which we hope you are because you can see some of the DR behind me, then there might be a little bit of lag, a little bit of glitch. And also I'm not hardwired into my laptop. So you're just getting raw audio and possibly some music behind and all of that jazz. So yes, it is actually the day of this recording, my birthday, and I'm sharing with Mary and all of you. And yes, I wanted to just say, because Mary was asking me before we hopped on, that I am literally just teaching 30 minutes a morning of warrior rhythm, like very gentle, very stretchy, 30 minutes at 9:30 a.m. And then I have the rest of the day to play.
So awesome.
It's so awesome. If you haven't listened to the episode about fit bodies, I don't remember what episode number it was, but maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that. And I talk about how you can get involved as a fit pro and teach your way through a vacation. Okay, but more about Mary. So I wanted to introduce her a little bit to you before she introduces herself, because Mary above all, has become one of my closest friends. That's her
Aw.
biggest role in my life. But also we work together. Thank you. We work together. So she has been teaching for me at the Downtown Athletic Club. And also she has been doing personal branding photography for me in fitness, whether I'm teaching at Lululemon or teaching at the DAC or filming for Warrior. So then hence it bleeds over into my company. She is our company's photographer. She is the Warrior photographer, meaning she travels with me. Like we travel the world together. We're always we don't even know where we last. I think we don't even know ever where we just were. We were just in San Francisco, and she comes with me. She does professional photo shoots for our team, but she also is doing shoots for me. She's even been hired by SCW to do some stuff. So she's the official photographer, but she really has this surprised me, Mary, about you. I've realized about you that you have a heart and a vision and your hands really on the pulse of the warrior culture, community, and the business itself. And so her role has kind of bled out from just being the photographer to kind of helping me keep all operations kind of being someone I can lean on and ask opinions of and about the business that I run. So that's a little bit about Mary from me. Mary, tell them who you are.
That was so nice. My name is Mary, Moondance Mary, as I like to refer to myself when we go to conferences, because sometimes we have multiple Marys, which is really fun. Yeah, I started working out with Ellen, and then I was also am a photographer, so I kind of bridged the two. And just to touch on what you were saying, it's funny, I don't think either of us realize, because being the photographer for all the formats, the set photographer during filmings, going on conferences, I get to see it each time.
Yeah.
And we have different people coming in for talent. We have different things that we do through the brand. And so getting it was like, oh, I know what to do. I know like where you like this or what the music needs to do here, or oh, we should all be facing this way in this moment. So that was kind of a really cool bonus. I think we learned a couple years later that I could be helpful with. So yeah, that was a really nice intro. Thank you.
Exactly. Like it started with, you just knew, because I forgot to say, you also teach warrior formats, but she,
Ew.
because she knows the choreography that we're doing and she's coming on set, she actually knows how to position herself at the right time, at the right moment. Like she knows what move is coming into what move and where we'll be facing and what's going to look pretty. So basically all of the stunning marketing materials that I'm able to share, to create from her, like raw materials from her deliverables, is what I'm able to show the world. That's all her. Like our brands look so good, and that's Mary. That's her touch, and then I guess my like graphic design twist on things. So, but yeah, I just recently, I think, posted or storied about the fact that we just did 40 professional productions, 40 fitness videos, 40 from Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Kids. And we start filming Warrior Revolution stuff this next weekend, but she's been there for every single one of those. So every single piece. So yeah, it goes deep. Yeah. I have something else to share.
Very cool.
So once, I'm sharing a personal story now. Once I had this, like, we were gonna be filming over the course of the weekend, and I had this like pain on my neck.
Oh,
And I mean, it was really bad. It was really bad, and I didn't want to complain about it, but it was getting worse every day. This pain was getting worse, and it started to radiate kind of like nerve pain along my clavicle, to my shoulder joint. And we had to film, and it felt almost like I had been burned, like a second, third degree burn. I felt like on my neck, and like my clothing was bothering it, the air was bothering it. And I just didn't know how I had hurt myself. It was such a bizarre feeling injury. And then we did this filming production. I can't remember which lesson it was. This is this last year. And then we always do a dinner after with the cast to kind of celebrate. So we go sit down for dinner. We all go wash our hands. Then we sit down for dinner. And I touch my neck and I realize what was going on. Pause the story for the spoiler here. My husband takes the dogs up this mountain every day. It's called Mount Pisgah. We call it a mountain. And he runs them and he hikes them in the woods every day. And periodically they come home with ticks. And spoiler, it was a tick. So we're sitting at dinner and I realized there's a tick in my neck and I wanted to die because it's so disgusting. And it was in my body and I was dying and I knew it. And I couldn't want to tell anyone because they're like ordering food. So I just sat that whole hour and a half, slowest hour and a half of my life. And the second everyone hugged their goodbyes, they're like traveling in from out of the state and everything. And I'm just dying in my own skin. And everyone hugs goodbye. And I get in my car and I called Mary in her car and I'm like, get over here. Because she used to be like a former vet tech. So anyway, she extracted the tick from my neck in my car at the parking lot of this restaurant. So we're extra close, I guess.
so
Okay.
good. That was the best phone call ever. Also, kudos to you for being a boss enough to not want to like ruin everyone's dinner. I think we've all had those moments where we're like, this will go a definite direction if I bring this up right now.
I just felt like everyone would lose their appetite. So I took one for the team and I just died silently for that whole meal. Okay, let's jump in. So tell us more about your background.
Got it out.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
it.
So anyway, sorry, there's a little bit of a lag going on in the Dominican Republic stuff. Okay, so Mary, tell us about your background in group fitness or fitness in general.
Okay. I'll start. I was a dancer. I danced in college, and then I also got the opportunity to be a part of a performing group here in Oregon for about 10 years. Shout out to the Dance Factory and Elite Dance Co. So I danced with them, yeah, for the better part of 10 years. And then I had to make a transition to fitness. I had to do something else. I was getting older. I still dance, I still take open classes, but being a part of a company and performing and competing and stuff was just needed to transition from that. So I got into fitness. My husband's been a member of the Downtown Athletic Club since we moved here. It was like 2009 that he joined. And so I wanted to go work out and take some classes, and it was actually one of your classes. I had been kind of looking at other gyms in the area because the DAC was like kind of far and there's like a lot of steps and I don't know.
So many steps, like 1,500 staircases, a whole
And
nother
so
workout.
I was scrolling, it was Instagram or Facebook or something, and I saw a photo of two people. I think it was a piggyback situation in Studio One, and it was like fun music. And I was like, what's happening at the DAC right now? Like, this is not the DAC I remember. Chills. I got chills just now.
Chills. That's what we do. Sorry. Visual. We look at our forearms regularly when we have chills. Carry on.
So I was like, what's happening at the deck right now? So I looked up and there was like some team training going on and some group classes. And I saw Ellen's photo. I was like, that's the girl in the photo, full body tattoos. Like something is happening at the deck and I want to be a part of it. Like, this is cool. So I joined and started working out, and that's where I met Ellen. I started actually with I think it was Tribe.
Yep.
It was like a private team training.
Small group. It was like small group personal training. It was cool. We did it it was a program I launched at the club. I love that story because I remember part of it, but not all of it. But now I even remember that photo. Like I totally remember that piggyback photo. Yeah. So I should say that like when I took over as director at the DAC, that was my goal. And also that's what they wanted from me, is to like blow the dust off of it. Because the DAC is an older club with an older clientele. And it just kind of was in a dinosaur land, and it needed kind of a makeover and new energy and a new vibrancy. And that was my mission. Like that was my goal, is to literally be disruptive and shake things up there. And so I love, oh, now I got chills. I put it on my legs, so I can't really pick it up and look at it. But yeah, that was my goal, is to bring in new programming, to try new things, to hire, a new wave of instructor. And so that's right. I brought in small group training. I brought in some wearable technology. We revamped the whole cycle situation. It was just revamp. And that's when, so it was working. So it worked. And I got married. I got married.
Yeah, you totally worked on me. I was like, I want to be a part of whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you got
I started
pounds.
taking classes.
Yeah. Cycle. You started teaching. Well, I can't, I think, let me see, hold the phones. I can't remember where did you start with Pound or yes, you
Mhm.
started with Pound. Teach Cycle, is certified in like basically all things warrior. And you teach some very fun fusions, like hybrid mashups of warriors, like 30 minutes of this, that, and the other. It's great.
I
So
love talking about the Friday trifecta perfecta, which is 30-minute cycle, 30-minute strength, warrior strength,
yep.
and then 30-minute warrior rhythm flows. So it's like people can mix and match. They can go for some, stay for others, whatever they want to do. But the majority of people stay for the whole thing because it's just like, oh, so good.
I just want to, before I ask you about how you got started in photography, I want to say something more for people that don't know you and have never met you. Just that Mary is an incredible instructor, and what sets her, what I think her superpower is her joy, like I got chills again. Her overwhelming love and excitement and enthusiasm. Like you never, ever, ever, ever will see her not smiling. You will never see her in a class just not emanating and radiating just a light and a joy. And so it's really like, I mean, I don't know that there's a better compliment to give an instructor than that, because the technical stuff and like accidentally teaching the flow with just 4 moves instead of 8, like like technical stuff is like not about that, and this whole podcast really is, I mean, it's for anyone who wants to listen to me and my colleagues and coworkers and industry pros, but it's really geared towards upskilling instructors. And this is something that Mary brings to the table. And I know it's not what this episode is about, but she just radiates joy. And so she's magnetic. And so people are attracted to that energy. And so they want to take her classes. So, okay. Now,
Thank you. Goodness gracious.
tell us, how did you get started? And I don't think I know this, but how did you get started in photography and when?
So I was very little when my dad gave me his original camera. It was a film Nikon camera. He was in Vietnam, like the war, but he was stationed off. And I think he happened to be in Korea at this particular moment. He got a Nikon camera, came back, loved photography. It was his hobby, and handed that down to me. And so I had always had that. And in my college years, I was like a film girl. I was like, I shoot film photography, no digital photography here. I was like
Well,
artist kind of, yeah, all film all the way. I took tons of classes. I loved learning about photography, all that stuff. I took the majority of classes in LA. That's where I was born and raised, Los Angeles.
hot and
And
dirty like the LA air.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
And so yeah, so I was a film photographer. And
Huh.
then up
Wait,
here,
you mean like no digital, like did you have a dark room and you would like
I would use the school's dark
the
room.
school's dark room? Okay. In LA. Okay.
Yeah, Santa
That,
Monica City College.
that for like artsy kind of goth, like kind of like
Yeah,
soul loving vibe.
totally. Yeah. Like Winona Ryder walking around in Beetlejuice with a camera around her neck. Like,
Yes. Okay.
but
That's sweet
yeah,
that your dad passed that. That's so neat that your dad passed that
it's
along.
like the majority, at least that I see, is Canon. Canon cameras are very prominent in the professional photography world, but I'm like Nikon all the way. It's just, I'll never change because of that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet.
But yeah, so then once we moved here, I kept that up. But then we had our first child at that point, Juno. He's now going to be 17 tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
And I got my first digital camera. I wanted to document, as most moms do, we want to just document everything. So, and then fast forward, long story short, just always shooting, always wanting to shoot friends with their pets, and families hiring me here and there. Their son or their daughter has a senior shoot. They don't want to spring for the huge $1,000 senior portrait package or whatever. And then our kids growing up through sports, teams reaching out wanting to get team photos. And like Ellen mentioned before, I was a vet tech for a number of years here in town, and also doing photography on the side. And it was 2019, early 2019, where I was like, I feel like I could take this in this direction. I feel like if I wanted
Mm,
to go for it, now's the time.
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, that was 5 years ago. My business will be, I will have started Moondance Photography 5 years ago this May.
Ah, happy
Yeah.
birthday almost.
Yeah.
So why do you think, and I think I've talked about it in the past, but why do you think it's important for fitness professionals to get professional headshots and body shots? Or
It's funny. I think professional photography is the quickest way to showcase all of your time and energy that you've put into your craft.
Mm,
It's fitness. In my world, I shoot fitness photography. So watching these instructors take loads of educational classes, teaching classes constantly, teaching at other gyms, maybe starting their own brands. How do you show that? How do you show people, I know what I'm talking about and I mean business, other than a professional photo and advertisements with professional photos in them. So
yeah.
I think it kind of mirrors all the love and energy that you're putting out into the world.
Yeah, and I know there was an episode where I talked about the importance of, it was like where you should invest your time and energy. or something like that was one of my earlier episodes. And that was like one of many sub points is in professional photography. And I used the example of a gal that is in town where you and I live, how suddenly she caught my eye and suddenly she became a big name in a prominent, like this is someone who's a distinguished instructor in our town. And it was literally just that she started showcasing herself with professional work. And so I've already used that example, but since that episode, I just like, I have so many of our warrior instructors because you come on this circuit with us all over the country and Canada, because you travel with us and you get to shoot so many of our instructors. I just like, it blows my mind. I am so proud of them. It blows my mind at how good they look now that their profile pictures are pictures you've taken, and they're promoting their classes. Like you said, they're doing marketing with professional content, and it is just I feel so grateful for you because you have like I'm so passionate about helping instructors level up, and I feel like my relationship with you and the ability to kind of bring you along with me so that we together can give them that gift. It makes me feel like I've helped them level up, and it's because of you, but I've helped them like put their best foot forward. And while you were talking about that, like them investing into education and buying nice outfits and shoes and stuff like that, and um and listening to podcasts and trying to stay relevant and all the things they do, it's almost like if someone were to hand me a resume, and this has happened, someone has given me like, someone's literally left a post-it note. This is their version of a resume, like a post-it note with their phone number and email on it because they wanted me to reach out to them to hire them. A post-it note. They gave me a post-it note as opposed to like a professional resume. And so I guess I feel like, yes, we can take selfies on our phone, and yes, our iPhones take good pictures, but there is a difference. Like you can tell when it is professional, and it is kind of like the difference between a post-it note or a resume on maybe a cheap piece of paper versus some like beautiful like parchment paper or a beautiful like digital resume. So
Absolutely. And I would add, our phones, these apps are crazy these days. Canva, oh my gosh, I wish that existed 20 years ago. The level of just the level of what you can do with a app like Canva and promoting yourself and creating these advertisements, it looks so good. And then you cut out your like selfie on top, in the forest or whatever, or yeah, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't match. And so having those, you don't want to pull stock, you're going to pull stock photography, that's fine too. But when it's your face and it's evenly lit and it's a professional photo, they work so perfectly together. I loved it. I love iPhone photography. I love behind the scenes. I take all of your behind the scenes. I think that's a great tool as well, but
it is.
marrying the two
That
is
is
good.
that's like B-roll. Like there's a place for that. There, like, please keep doing your iPhone pictures, and all of that is important too. It's just multidimensional, it's just layers, and that is an important layer, is that stuff you're capturing on your phone. But this is like a layer if you're a fitness professional, that should be part of your layers. And I wanted to say, because I am very sensitive to people that might not have the funds or a budget for it, I would just say that you probably know someone in your classes or in your church or in your neighborhood or in your circle who is an amateur photographer. Maybe they're a brand new photographer. They're not quite ready to put themselves out there with full pricing, or they're building their website still, like, or maybe they're still building their confidence as a professional photographer, but they have the equipment or they have an eye for it, or they're working on it. Maybe doing a trade or asking them if they would practice on you. So I think there are ways around if you happen to be on a shoestring budget. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Will you talk about the difference between headshots and body shots? And then when you're done, don't let me Yes, please. Thank you. Room service. I mean, not room service, but like they're gonna make the bed and stuff like that. Okay. Anyway, carry on podcast. Oh, when you're finished talking about, don't let me forget that I want to talk to our audience about the expectation that has been placed on me for headshots. Okay, go. Headshots, body shots.
Absolutely. Okay. At the base of it, headshots, right tight to your face. We just want to see your face, maybe a little bit of shoulders, but that's about it. Very tight to the face. I like to shoot a little bit wider than that because like we were talking about social media, sometimes there's cropping issues. So I shoot a little bit further away than a traditional, like if you think about an actor's headshot, which is like almost the ears are cut off. And then full body shot, exactly what it says, full body all the way down. You're probably wearing maybe some branded content. You have some dumbbells in your hands because you're a strength-based teacher. Maybe you're standing on a yoga mat because you're a yoga teacher. So those are the full body ones.
Yes. Okay. Here's the little piece I wanted to add. When I started as a like presenter and a master trainer for Beachbody, we were required to submit a professional headshot. And I should also say that I require that of my master trainers in their application. Like one of the things they have to submit among so many other things, they have to submit a professional headshot because if they're going to be a master trainer, I want to showcase them on our website. I want to be able to market their events. So that's like a non-negotiable. So I inherited that, I'm sure, that standard that I now have from Beachbody, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's interesting to hear you say that, like, that's new to me. I've never heard that about like dancers being a little different or whatever, but what was required of us was that it was, like you say, like mid bust or slightly higher than like mid bust. Basically shoulders were allowed. That's a better way to say it. Like shoulders, your shoulders, the entirety, the entirety of your head. And I say that, it sounds silly that I would need to say that, but I see so many fitness professional headshots on websites, on like other organizations' websites, where they're like, you can't see a little bit of space here. So if you're watching on YouTube, let me frame myself. Let me frame this is silly that I'm doing this, but like, you need to have a little bit of space between the top of your head and hair, if you have hair, the top of your head and the top of the photo, like a little bit, not too much, but it should never crop that. And so that was like really important, that the dimensions, and I wish I could like give some examples of, but I don't want to, that would be like, look at what we don't want to look like. But there's a lot of organizations that are showcasing presenters, and I'm seeing like a hodgepodge of photography, of headshots, and some of it is outstanding, and some of it is clearly like the selfie style, and some of it is just poorly cropped. So again, shoulders, and you need to see some space above the head. And also, you know how you can do like semi profiles or like, but basically eyes needed to be forward. And I know we can do different types of headshots that are cool with like eyes gazing, which I love that too. But for like a website, it needed to be like eyes forward and a smile, like, so yeah. Yeah. And then when our girls book, well, I would just say on this topic before we kind of dive into the real heart of this whole podcast, which is practical tips for you guys. I wanted to just say that if you can, do both, do a headshot, body shot. And actually, Mary will probably talk about this in her tips, so maybe I should hold off on what I'm about to say. But the body shots are important also because they showcase the flavor and style of what you bring to the table. Okay, so I guess it's time to dive in. So I've asked Mary to kind of go over like her best practices for you in how to best prepare and get the most out of your photo shoot. And then I have come up with some things that I kind of think might be slightly different than hers. At least I hope they are, because I don't want to be redundant. I have some tips as well, just because I'm someone who gets photographed all the time. Poor Mary. You've probably seen my face more than anyone in the whole entire world. You probably know what my face looks like more than my husband right now. Okay. All right. What are your tips?
Okay, well, first I want to piggyback on a little bit on what you were saying about hiring a photographer and when we first started out, when I first started out going on the conference circuit with Ellen, we were offering headshots or body shots. And now that's evolved because I think it's so important for fitness professionals to have both. I think a great headshot, like we were just talking about right here, just your face, resume style, is great to have, but the time that you get to spend with that photographer should be worth it. And so full body shot, just like what I was saying, showcasing standing on a mat or props or whatever is key. So now we offer it's basically a photo shoot. Like we still call it headshots, but it's basically a photo shoot. It's a quick one. I typically spend 30 minutes with everyone, and that's really an adequate amount of time. Otherwise, you start getting the same poses over and over again. So that said, tip number one, bring all the options, bring all the clothing, bring the different colors, if you're showcasing a branded format, bring it. We showcase Warrior. So like, there's so many shirts. There's so many shirts that we can wear, and they're all different colors. And we don't know. I mean, if you listen to Mac's episode, maybe you would know what color looked good on you.
Don't wear black. No, just kidding.
Black for life. So bring all of the options. It's really you're going to squeeze every last minute out of your photo shoot. There have been, especially recently, just the bag and people like, what about this? What about that? And I'm like, I don't know if we have the time, but let's go for it. We'll shoot a couple in that. So yeah, that's tip number one, bring all of the clothing options.
That's great.
Okay. Did you want to say anything about that or should I
No,
continue?
you go, and then if that was great, you go, and then I'll clean up. I mean, not
Okay.
clean up.
Yeah,
What's the
sweep
word
up
I'm
after
looking for?
me.
No, no, I don't mean clean up. I mean, like, what do you call it? What do you call it? What's the word I'm trying to say? It's uh, like, I don't know. It's a sports word. It's like a sports term.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a dancer.
Someone listening probably knows. It's like someone listening probably knows exactly what I'm trying to say. Like the go ahead and just give all your tips, and if I have anything to add, I'm going to.
Every athlete is yelling this word at the stereo right now. Okay, tip number two. What time of year are you shooting?
Oh.
Okay. If you are shooting in February in DC, bring the sweats, bring the comfy shoes, bring the huge jacket. You're going to want to bundle up in it until I get you placed, and then you can toss it off out of camera view and hit your pose. And I even just, I made a birthday reel for Ellen, and in it is her with this cute pink dress on. We were taking some business shots in DC. She fully had her black sweatpants on under this dress. Like it was pulled down. They were about mid thigh, but it was like anything would help in that moment.
Yeah, it's true. It is so true.
And also, for the individual shots.
Oh, also you had me, unless this is another point of yours, I don't want to step on your toes of your points, but remember about my heels.
Oh yeah. So we leave if you are taking business shots, if that's part of your personal branding, if you've signed up for whatever package you have, at least specifically for me, I walked Ellen out the first time in her business stuff, and she had on gorgeous heels. They were very high, and I don't even think I shot the heels. I don't think I took one photo of a full body in those.
And honestly, like I really like to wear heels because I think they're pretty and they're cute, and I wear them often, but I have to be honest, people, I don't walk very well in them. I'm a jock. Like I don't walk super sexy in them. So we had to like walk around a huge building, like a hotel. And I'm like, like let's like walking carefully because I'm like, I can't sprain an ankle. I have to present today. Like I should have just been in my Nikes. I would have been warmer. We could have walked faster. But then we wised up. And then I ditched the heels. And then when she relocated me, anyway, okay. Point number 3.
Yeah, so it's such a good point because you don't realize as the subject that, especially for a business photograph, people don't really use a full body business attire photograph. If they're showcasing you for a business or if you're on a panel, if you're speaking, they want to see again your face. So it's mostly torso and up. So that's where you can kind of get away with some Nikes on the bottom instead of the heels. So yeah, that is my tip number 2. Bring all the comfy clothes. You don't know where you're going to be. And if you have to stay, and photography, it's not super glamorous. It looks glamorous on the back half, but when you're in it, it's freezing or it's 100 degrees and you're sweating your face off. Like you have to hold poses sometimes that are really uncomfortable. And so when you snap that photo, does it look like it's 32 degrees? No, it looks like it's a cool 70.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Okay.
What else you got?
Okay, so let's see. 1, bring all the options. Okay. My third tip, this is like kind of the bubble, or not the bubble, but the present that I'm wrapping this all up in. I only have 3 tips.
Okay.
Be your most authentic self.
Oh,
It is, I mean, we say it in video all the time. Chills. Actual like full body.
yeah. Legs too.
We
Sorry, everybody. We just both got chills. Like not just arms, but legs. So that's full body, just like full body shots
You know
without
why?
over authenticity. Go.
You know why? It's because you see it. I see it a lot because I'm behind the camera, but it's so easy to kind of look at yourself. We don't look at ourselves a lot. We don't see what people see when we're talking to them. We see putting on makeup maybe and like, oh, I look, this is where I look good, but let all that go.
Yeah.
Let all that go. You end up shining a lot brighter when you can just be yourself. You speak more clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it. You shine brighter.
Yeah.
So, I love telling people to practice their poses, look on Pinterest. That's like the best thing ever. But at the end of the day, you know what poses people tend to use a lot in social media when they're advertising themselves is when they're cracking up.
Yeah.
Like they're being themselves. They're looking at something. Maybe they just fumbled a little bit. Maybe we're cracking jokes behind the scenes and they're themselves. So
Yeah.
those are the best ones.
It's true. Okay. It's like Mary does this thing where she has us fake laugh and then we inevitably laugh at ourselves fake laughing and then we're authentically laughing. And so those pictures are the best when we're laughing at ourselves fake laughing.
Yeah.
And then, okay, that's awesome. I love your 3 tips and mine are similar and different. It reminds me of when Nicole Printon and I did the episode on nutrition and I asked her to prepare some tips on, eating and I prepared my own and they were like dissimilar. They were similar and different. So this community I've already given them that word. They can have it, similar but different. So here's my like dissimilar.
Love it.
Similar tips. So my first one was actually Mary did just touch on is like, look at Pinterest for inspiration. I know she was saying it in a different context of like, just be yourself. You don't try to be someone that you're not. But I will say that just go into, if you don't have the app, it's just worth it. Just download that app. And I would say it's the best place to find reference photos. You can literally just use it as a search engine and type in fitness photos, or like when we were doing our first combat photos, I typed in boxing fitness photos. And when we prepared for our first revolution, I typed in cycle photos. And so it just gives you inspiration and gets your creative juices flowing. So I would say definitely use Pinterest. You'll also notice when you look at Pinterest, that's your homework, everybody. When you look at it, it'll inspire you and you'll see that people are generally wearing for fitness solids, or like Mary said, I do think it's very wise if you're representing a brand, like a trademark, like a fitness to get some in that brand. And then also to just get some in some solids. But heavy patterns like less tends to be more, and heavy distracting patterns like a funky shirt with like a funky colored pattern sports bra underneath might be too much. It really does detract. Like your face is the star of the show, your face, so, or your body if it's full body. So I think less is more in terms of patterns. Avoiding like shiny materials can sometimes look weird both on video and on photos. You know how there's like fun, cool, shiny pants? I would not pack those for your photo shoot. Um, to Mary's point, I think it was her point number one about packing tons of options. Like you will get more for your money if you do that. Like I've seen it time and time again. I just shout out to one of our master trainers, Karen Ruda, who just did a shoot with you. Like she came with she made so many quick changes and had so many like positions like that she wanted to try, that there was a lot of because the girls share their albums with me and I can use them in marketing. She just had a lot of variety, which means she can take those deliverables that your photographer, in our case it's Mary, that your photographer gives you the deliverables that you can use if you have some different colors on and you're positioning your body in different ways, you might get a year's worth of content versus a month's worth. So just like really try to cram it in and, you know, be as prepared on your end, and don't put all of the responsibility on the photographer. A great photographer, like we have, a great photographer is going to have some posing options for you. They're going to boss you around and suggest you like angle this way, or you know, if you have like, I'm always like, Mary, if I have 12 chins, fix it. like she'll be like, Ellen, lift your chin. I'm like, okay, I had 12 chins. So like a good photographer is going to direct you, have some control. I like a little bossiness out of a photographer. But maybe that's not their personality, or so come to the table with like, have some ideas yourself too, like come prepared instead of just showing up like, here's my one outfit, tell me what to do, but to come excited with some, to prepare. Okay. Also, Mary talked about time of year and like sweatpants and footwear and stuff like that. Also, like full sun is harsh. It can be harsh with shadows. A lot of photographers would prefer to schedule you, like you might have to get up early in the morning, or but full sun can be tricky with the shadows it casts on you. And then, okay, ready? So also, I'm going quickly here. Asymmetrical lines look good. So if you're like sitting on the ground or sitting on a stool or sitting on a stairwell or leaning against a wall or standing straight up, just think about making your body less symmetrical. So one way to do that is like with your legs or with your arms, like popping an elbow out, bending a knee, pointing a toe, and then really, 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 really popping your hips out. So Mary talked about the sessions being sometimes fatiguing. Like I'll get sore muscles from posing for her. Like
Somebody was just sore. It was Janelle. Hey, Janelle, I hope you're listening.
Janelle will listen. She listens to every episode.
She worked. Like she worked. And yes, to your point, the lines and the angles, there's a difference between, if you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, here versus here.
Yes, creating a space. Yes.
Creating the spaces and like long lines like that. Asymmetrical. Yes, 100%.
Yes. I was gonna say too, like, this is an example of like, oh, I hesitate to say this. Okay, let me put fine print, like disclaimer, like don't get injured and sue me. But like sometimes during a fitness photo shoot, you do need to like, I'm like struggling with whether I should actually say this or not. Have bad form. Okay, I said it, have bad form. Like if you're in a plank, like look at the camera. And I know that's like cervical hyperextension of your cervical spine, but it like eyes up, and also like almost getting lordotic. Like I pop my booty out so much to create curves. So you can, someone with, let's say like this, specifically to women, like creating curvature in your body, you don't have to be a curvy girl to create really pretty curves in your body. And on the flip side, you might have lovely curves, but if you're not like emphasizing them in the way you're sitting or standing or positioning yourself. You could have like a voluptuous or a curvy booty, let's say, but you could be standing in such a way that it doesn't look like it. And on the flip side, you could have maybe less of a curvy booty, but you could pop that booty out, pop a hip out, stand asymmetrically, and you can like I can make my butt in a photo look really good, and I can also make it look really bad. It has to do with how I'm standing. It has to do with how I'm angling myself. So
Those are my favorite Instagram photos of the, you know, whoever the model that's in the photo is like, this is how I have a booty and this is how I don't have a booty. You know, it's all
yeah, I
angles.
know. I thought about
Angles are the
that.
best.
I actually thought about that when I wrote this down. I thought of like, actually thought of a recent, yeah, thing that I saw that was like, this is me posing and this is me not posing. And it was like a radical difference.
And just like in videos where we often say, and you've probably, even if you haven't, you know, filmed a fitness video, you know this about the camera taking away and you need to be extra, you need to give 110% for it to just pick up 100. The
Oh yeah.
same goes for photography. Like you feel almost so awkward, like you're being extra and you're really not. Now it looks like you're having a good time.
Yes.
You know,
Let's
smile,
tell
you're like, I was smiling so big, and people are like, you look like you're just having an okay time.
yeah, and actually let's bring up, and just in case this applies to what they will be doing. For me, one of the things I hire Mary to do is candid exercise photo shoots. So this would be for you, the listener, like if you're having a photographer photograph an event you're doing, like a where you're leading a class at an event, or they're coming in and you're so for me, this would be like, I have her come in and photograph community fitness classes that I do for like Lululemon. I also have her photograph at the conferences where there's like a sea of people. And I also have her photograph our actual fitness videos where we have people on set doing the content for our instructor memberships. So basically in all of those settings, we preach to them, if you're not smiling, we aren't going to use the photo, like, because like, we think it's natural, it's intuitive to think like, oh, I'm doing a burpee, oh, I'm doing a push-up, like my face should be like show how hard I'm working, like my face should look intense. And so everyone tend to try to get an intense face, and it doesn't look good. I mean, it looks good in real life. Like we like that look in real life. And when we're teaching our classes for real, we like it when you look like you're working hard. But for the purposes of marketing materials that will sell your classes, sell your program, sell your club, if you're a manager listening or a marketing director listening that will sell programming, it's FOMO marketing, it's smiles, it's people having fun. So 100% of the time, I'm not going to use a photo where someone's face is like screwed up, like they're working hard. But if they look like they're having fun, so smiling till your cheeks hurt. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just showing a few photos from the conference that we were just at in San Francisco, and it was full rooms, and
Yeah.
I was showing them to my husband and I was like, look at all this. He said, this conference looks like it's a lot of fun.
Ah,
I
yes.
was like, that's
Yep.
because everybody in this photo is smiling and having a good time. And it
Yep.
makes you be like, I want to go to that conference, you
Yep.
know? Same thing
Yep.
in the classes. That class looks like a lot of fun.
Um, okay, are you ready for my next tip? And I'm getting close. I think I have one more after this. Um, my next tip is keep booking the same photographer. Like when you find one that you like, keep going, because you will both only get, it's like a marriage, it's like a relation, maybe marriage is extreme, but it's definitely a relationship that builds and grows and requires like communication, both verbal and nonverbal communication, like learning how each other tick and learning, like just learning each other. And so Mary and I work better together in photo shoots now than when we first were introduced. I don't even remember my first shoot with you. What was that? When was it? What was my first shoot with you? Like, I don't even know how I ended up using you. Like, because
Oh, I bullied my way into your life
first I had
100%.
Yeah, first I had like Lululemon hired a photographer in Portland and
And
I
I heard you talking about that.
okay, is that how? And you were like,
Yeah, because I heard you talking
like
about that and
coach?
how, yeah, well, you were like, the scheduling was tough, like, because they were in Portland.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I'm a photographer and I would love the
You're like, and
opportunity
I'm
to
in your
set
front
some.
row every day. You could use me.
Although, like, I know what pose you're going into next.
Exactly. And then it just was done forever. No, so anyway, this is like a really big tip. And again, I know that like budget, like, but it is like, okay, there's a couple of reasons behind it. One of them I've already touched on. You will get better at working with each other and you will create better content together with familiarity. A. B, as like a relevant fitness pro in our industry, one thing that is like so cool that you'll see if you follow me and if you follow the girls, the warrior instructors and master trainers that tend to go on the conferences and they rebook her. They book
Yeah.
her again and again and again and again, and so do I, because it suggests to the world something that's very true, is that we're relevant. We're not just using a professional photo from like 8 years ago or 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. I mean, I think it's fine to use a picture from 1 year ago, but like, I don't, I don't like, I keep refreshing with current relevant, look at me, like now I'm here, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing this. And I'm not suggesting you need to travel like I do, like a maniac, but just like that you're evolving and growing and you're showcasing different sides of you in fitness. And so I highly recommend doing a photo shoot once a year or something like that. Yeah. And
And
then
I completely agree with that because the fitness instructors that maybe it's their first year, maybe it's the first year they went to the conference, they wanted to get the photos, and now they're like, oh wow, I'm booking a lot. I don't want to use the same photo.
yeah,
Or now I'm certified in combat. Now I'm certified in revolution. I
yeah.
want to showcase that. I want to be on a bike next time. I want to be holding my fists up next time. So we're all constantly evolving. It's like, I always liken it to your hairdresser. If you have like your favorite hairdresser, he or she knows your hair. They know what to do. You have that relationship, like you were saying. So it really is a symbiotic relationship.
I just wonder if the people walking behind me in their bikinis know that we're on a podcast. I'm sure it's fine. It's no big deal. It's fine. Fine. Okay, so are you ready for my last point?
Yes.
Last
I don't
tip?
want it to end, but yes,
I know, I don't ever want it to end. It's my birthday. We're hanging out. Um,
that's right.
so my last tip is so similar to your be authentic. Like
Okay.
I feel like it's honestly like almost the same point, but I said it in mine. I wrote notes down. So I like come prepared with bullets to these things. So my bullet was confidence. Show up confidently, because it was very similar. Like you can't be confident if you're trying to be something else that you're not, or look a certain way that you're not, or do a modality that you're not, if you've never swung a kettlebell in your life, don't swing one in a professional photo shoot. It's not authentic. If you're not like a yogi, then maybe don't try a yoga pose in your picture. So Mary's was be authentic, and mine was show up your most confident self, because there is nothing more attractive than confidence. There's nothing more attractive than confidence, and the camera does catch that. And I think it's an important point, because I'm a confident woman and I like myself. I think I'm pretty, like, I don't think I'm perfect, but I mean, my body has flaws, but I like my body. I've learned to accept it and love it. So I'm a confident woman. Okay. Okay. I'm a confident woman. It challenges my confidence, is my point, to do a photo shoot. There's something that like stirs I don't, insecurity is the wrong word, but like there's like a timidity, like a little bit of a timidity about posing in front of a camera. And I am friends with Mary. Like, imagine if it was a stranger. It's either way is awkward. If it's a friend, it's kind of awkward to like try to be like posy in front of them. And if it's a stranger, it's unusual and it is a little bit uncomfortable. And so I just want to say, if you want to make the most for your time and the most for your money, somehow work on yourself, like almost like when I first started presenting, I had to like literally, Mary, you don't even know this about me, but that, you know, the Amy Cuddy TED Talk. I don't know if you've ever seen the Amy Cuddy TED Talk about power posing. There's,
No.
oh my
Oh
God,
my
I'm gonna send it to
gosh.
you. I'm gonna put it in the show notes. Everybody needs
Okay.
to see this. Amy Cuddy is her name, Cuddy, I think. And it's about the power of the power of power posing, like standing like you're wearing a Superman cape or sitting up confidently. And it actually like does things in your body neurologically and chemically that create a confidence. And when I was a new presenter and when I also was new to, sorry, the music's getting really loud behind me, but
I
shut up,
can't hear
shut
it.
up. Okay,
So
good.
yeah.
Um, the I would go when I first was cast in Beachbody to be in their videos for their instructors at Alpha Studio in LA slash it was actually Van Nuys, but
It was the valley. What up,
I'm gonna
valley?
go LA. I went into the little tiny bathroom on the set of AFA Studios and closed the door, and I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I went in there and I literally power posed to summon a spirit of confidence because I was nervous. And then I did that as a presenter, and now I don't need to do that because I have confidence in that area. But um about this, you photo shoots, whatever it takes to summon that confidence in yourself. Like maybe it's just telling yourself I'm beautiful, and it changes the way you enter the room. So you'll have a prouder chest, you'll have a more smirky smile maybe, or a twinkle in your eye. And so just showing up with confidence. And then like, I don't know, there's things like popping your hip out and arching your back and lifting your chest and like sticking your booty out, and putting your hand in your hair, or those types of things that just really really translate well to great photography, fitness or otherwise. So those are my tips
Absolutely.
on top of Mary's. And I know neither of us want to go forever. We just want to hang out with Confessions of a Group X instructor audience forever and ever.
Yes. Oh
But
my gosh, yes.
instead, I have a vacation to finish and she has a confession to make and I don't know what it
Ugh,
is.
okay. I have two confessions. My first one's kind of silly, but the second one's a doozy. My first one is that this is a confession for people who hire with me. If you choose the first day in a conference,
Yeah.
if you choose the first day and you're my first headshot,
Yeah.
you're going to get more backgrounds because I am a photographer that loves to think on my feet. And I love to walk around to all the different spots and find what I love, find what what I could do without, things like that. And it usually ends up that the first headshot gets more backgrounds. So not necessarily more photos, but definitely difference in backgrounds. So
That's
take that
amazing.
for what it is. Okay, here's my confession. And before I say that, I just wanted to catch myself earlier when we were talking about posing, and I spoke like everybody's watching this on YouTube, and I'm a car podcast listener, so I just wanted to describe what I was doing with my hand. A tip is bringing your arm away from your hip instead of your arms being glued to your sides. That's what I was doing when I said, if you're watching this,
Oh
creating this.
yeah. Thank you for saying that. I was actually going to do the same thing. I was actually going to talk about it too, and then I forgot. Yeah, she literally drew her elbow away from her body, which created like almost like a diamond shape, like of negative space. It just angles. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, here's the confession, and it's so silly. So last year, one of the conferences was in Nashville, and I love like at the end, usually as I'm saying this about the first headshot, Ellen's always my last headshot. So sorry, Ellen.
If I even get to it, sometimes I'm a
If you even get to, if there's not gale force winds in San Francisco. So we're in Nashville. We've had the weekend. It's our time to have Ellen's headshot session, and we'd like to go kind of in a spot that's representative of the city. And so we're in downtown and we're walking, and it's kind of sprinkling, it's wet, it's a little chilly, it's like October or something. And we're walking, we had shot some
Oh,
on
I know.
real.
I just realized what you're gonna say. I love it. I just realized what you're gonna confess. This is so
So we've
carry
taken
on.
some photos. We're finding really cool streets. Nashville, downtown Nashville, so cool. Just like brick everywhere and trees and like neon lights, and we're getting all these shots. So we're walking around, it's cold. We're heading back to one part where we wanted to shoot some more. And inside this shop, I see like a glass door, and there's this really cool, just a different kind of brick, like a inside brick. It wasn't wet. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want to put you up against this brick. So I open the door, and as I step in, there's a long staircase leading up out of this little tiny area where the brick wall was. And at the top of the brick staircase, or at the top of the staircase, there's a man sitting there. So I see him out of the corner of my eye, out of the periffs, and I was like, oh, sorry, is it okay, sir, if I just shoot a couple photos right here? And I wait, and then I realize,
No, I think you asked
painting.
again. I think you might have asked twice.
Sir, sir, excuse me. It's a painting. It was a mural on a wall of a man sitting on a Harley, of course, at the top of these steps. And I died. I think I fell down. Ellen's like dying laughing.
People, like, it was, yes, it was a realistic looking mural of a man on a Harley, but he was not like real people size proportion. He was large. And so like, like she asked an oversized mural if we could come in and take photos.
Okay. And in my defense, and I'm going to make you do this, Ellen,
Oh,
I
what?
took a photo
Yeah.
of the staircase and the man at the top.
Oh,
And
you're
I
gonna make,
want you to put it
you
in the
want to
show notes.
you want to be justified. I don't think you can add a photo to show notes, can you? Can you add a photo to show
You know
notes?
what I'm going to do? I'm going to add it to the comments of the podcast on Instagram.
You can
Can
add
I
a
do that?
photo? No.
Yeah, you can comment with a photo.
No, you can't. On Facebook, you can. You can't do that on Instagram.
You
Can't
think I can? Well, maybe not. Okay.
give, you
I
know
need
what we
the
can,
world.
I know what we can do. I know what we can do. We can make, here, there's Diva. We're podcasting. Diva just worked out. Okay. I can make a carousel on my static post on Confessions of a Group X Instagram account. I can put the podcast promo carousel swipe over to the oversized mural man.
Listeners, please do me the favor, do me the justice of looking at this photo and telling me I'm not crazy. I mean, it was truly an embarrassing moment, especially as a professional, you know.
Thank God it was
Uh,
with me. Thank God it was with me. Although we
oh
just
my
told the
gosh.
world. Although we just told the world, but like that would have been really embarrassing if it was with like a first time hire, someone like you
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
that you didn't know, and you just started talking to the wall.
Can you actually see what you're taking a photo of? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
So
so
funny.
let's thank you so much for doing that. We've been talking, Mary and I've been talking about this podcast forever. And I've been actually teasing it out quite a bit and finally happened. So thank you for
Yes.
doing it. We knew it would be really valuable. So okay, tell everybody where they, if you can remember your handles, and where they can find and follow you.
Okay, so I post mostly on Instagram. My business Instagram is moondance photo underscore. That's incorrect. It's moondance underscore photo.
Right. Okay.
Moondance underscore photo. And on Facebook, it is Moondance Photo Eugene.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
And if you are a warrior instructor, as a benefit to you, we provide almost like group rate health insurance. It's one of many perks that we provide our members, our instructors, is very deeply discounted professional headshot, body shot. And she tours with us. So we're hitting the major cities, and it's something that we get to provide to you as a benefit, but you have to fill out a survey, and she sells out. So you got to get in there first. And now, you know, if you want the better, like the more variety in the backgrounds, you got to pick the first day. So
Oh, and I will say, like, I generally come into a city a day early. So if you're kind of wanting to get your photo shoot like done before you have to focus on your conference, that's a good one too. Like if we have like a booth set up maybe, but usually Thursday I like to get there early and be able to shoot. And then Friday is when the actual conference starts. So that's a good, also
yeah,
another tip.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay, so our calls to action are above all, get professional headshots and body shots. Find a photographer near you or someone you can work with, or at least an amateur, and level up if you haven't already. And if your profile picture is an old professional headshot from 8 years ago, is 2024, get a new one. And if
Yeah.
you are a warrior and you meet us on the conference tour, take advantage of our amazing discount and our amazing photographer. And that what did you do? How did what did you do? Elbow your way in? That
I
elbow
bullied my way
my
in.
life, that bullied your way in.
I elbowed my way in.
And then also for all of you listening that don't know Mary and her company, give her a follow at moondance_photo.
Yes.
And we love you guys. Mary listens to the show too. So she's a listener as well as
I am a
as a
definite,
guest.
yes, confessions listener. I love it. I want to say one more thing. Um, I these I recently looked up headshots, and they are not cheap, y'all. They are not cheap. And so what Ellen and I wanted to do was to give back to the fitness community, warrior specific, because you guys are taking the time to come on tour with us. So that's a deep, deep discount, but even spread the word. If there are fitness professionals that you know of that are looking for headshots, you know, when we're on tour like that, they're also discounted for non, you know, if you're not there in a warrior capacity, but
Correct. Right. That's right.
yeah, so.
Also, I was gonna say a confession for you, but I just thought
Ooh.
about like you getting like you being a listener of the show too. Like she's gotten lost like a couple of times because she's like really into the episode. So she's like gotten lost like on a
Two
walk.
things that happened. One time I was listening and I was walking around the neighborhood and I walked for 3 miles. I got so far out in our neighborhood that I was way far out there. I listened to the whole show. And then usually what happens is I will straight up drive out of town because Eugene's kind of small, and I'll just get going and listening and just, yeah,
That's
I
funny.
love it.
All right, you guys, we just want to both thank you so much for listening. And until next time, thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.